It was. I saw it on Facebook.
Hello, folks.
Hello.
Now, I will get right back to you, Andrew, but first let me introduce this extraordinary video. We are here from my empire, called America, to your empire, called Great Britain.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Hashtag.
I think Yorkshire is Stuart's country. It's a separate country. It's not really a part. He always says York. All right, and my country is called Louisiana, and we have a beer today that's from not Louisiana, neither Yorkshire, but from Ireland. Era. Dublin, capital, and it's called Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, and it was introduced in 1801, which is the year that Ireland became part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland and Yorkshire. And that's neither here nor there, but that is the year. Now, could one of you fine gentlemen tell the world why this beer was produced with extra hops, unlike the regular Guinness that came out in 1769 with just the normal hop level?
You've got the bottle.
I thought you knew all this history.
You've been to Ireland.
Anyway, it's basically to travel across the long continent.
When they shipped it out to India and South America and Australia and so on, they wanted to make sure the beer didn't spoil, so they found out that adding a lot of extra hops and upping the alcohol preserved it. And apparently
stuff for extra stout, whereas normally the India extra pale ale.
Yeah, and normally, not normally, but they say that in Africa and Asia and South America, this is the most popular form of Guinness. In other words, the normal form of Guinness.
Yeah.
You go to Africa and you say Guinness, this is what you'll get. Whereas if you come to America, you'll get the 6% version or possibly the 4% draft version.
True. This expired December 2014. This is the Irish one.
The Irish one.
I also picked up from the Jamaican store the Nigerian version, which is apparently it's a little bit more bitter than the Irish variation of the foreign extra stout.
Now, excuse me, sir. The Nigerian version is produced in Nigeria?
Yes.
Oh, I was reading something on Wikipedia, and as you know, we can always trust Wikipedia. They said that. Okay, listen to this and tell me if you think this sounds right. They said Guinness flavor extract, a dehydrated hopped wort extract made from barley malt and roasted barley is used for overseas production of the stout. The syrup is shipped from Ireland, where it is added at the ratio of 1:49 to locally brewed pale beer. In most overseas markets, Guinness flavor extract, GFE, is blended with locally brewed beer to produce foreign extra stout.
Yeah.
So
now, this one came from Ireland all the way to the UK, or from Ireland all the way to Louisiana. This one's come from Jamaica all the way to the UK.
Jamaica?
Yeah, Nigeria. I'll show you. It shows you all there.
So it's produced in Lagos, probably Lagos, Nigeria?
Yeah. I'm going to pause that. It's stout imported from Nigeria, brewed under license by Guinness Nigeria PLC, 24 Oba Akran Avenue, Ikeje, imported by Katu Enterprise Limited.
It's a beautiful bottle. Now,
yeah.
Nigeria was ruled by Great Britain until 1960, by the way. All right, now, my bottle looks a little different than yours, does it not?
Yeah, yours looks like the Irish imported one. I think there's the Irish imported one and there's Nigerian imported one.
And this bottle here says malt liquor.
That's a little bit more. You can smell it, Jay.
Oh yeah, it is rich.
Yeah, it's a little more richer than the other one.
Now they show a glass just like this on the Guinness website, except it says Guinness on it, and then they show that the man pours it to the side. I'm talking about the foreign extra stout, and then they say lift the glass up, and then you get this thick head. But I never do get the thick head like they show. It's it's pretty thick this time. Okay, never mind. That's a dark brown. Now, Andrew, how many times have you been drinking the foreign extra stout for many years? I've only been drinking it for about 4 years.
Well, we came across it a couple of years ago, and I think it first initially came out because it didn't come out about 5-6 years ago. When did it initially come out?
1801.
No, on the bottles. You know what I mean, guys.
Oh, you mean available? When did it become available in Great Britain?
Yeah, like this.
I don't really know. I know
I've only just come across it, or in the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, same thing here. Same thing here. Everybody kept talking about it.
So it's like initially, inspired us to try it. You know what I mean? And see the comparison of normal Guinness and this one.
Yeah. Well, first off, right off the bat, I'm getting raisins.
Really strong, a lot stronger.
Yeah, stronger. I'm getting raisins or raisins or chocolate covered strawberry. There's certainly a.
Well, I was getting a fruity kind of smell to it.
You can see the difference. The Irish imported one is getting more chocolate ahead. The Nigerian is a little bit more whiter.
The smell's not as much now. It's sort of faded, isn't it?
I wish I had. Mine's still rich.
Yeah, the aroma the Irish extra stout is a little bit more richer than the Nigerian. They are both the same ABV.
Yeah, 7.5, and it has a milkiness in mine.
You get
cream, milk fat, cream.
Like really rich malt extract smell to it.
Yeah.
Like what do you call it? Is it not? I'm more thinking of Marmite then, but.
These bottles cost about $2.25 here a piece. So for a 4-pack, it would be about $9, maybe $8 if you find it somewhere on sale. It has an interesting aroma. Let me say it's remarkable, really.
The difference between the palate is the Nigerian is bitter. It's a little more drier on the palate. The Irish one's a little bit more sharper and it's a little more fine-tuned.
Yeah. Now, I cannot get into that conversation because I don't have anything to compare it with. I can only compare this against itself.
Out of the two, which I'd buy again, I'd buy the Irish variation.
Better than a Nigerian, eh? The cherry
is a little too dry on the palate, and it's not a little bit too much.
The cherry has faded.
Mm.
Now I'm getting, and this is so strange, the strawberry yogurt or strawberries with cream or even cream cheese is very strange.
You get chocolate from Philadelphia?
Yeah. Philadelphia cream cheese with strawberry.
You know why I've been at work? Have you two been smoking something?
Yes. I only smoked one today. And what did I smoke? What did I smoke? Tobacco from Florida.
Now, You know when you smoked it, do you breathe it into your beer just to get that smoky taste?
No, I was out walking. I was out walking and I was puffing it. I didn't even really inhale it. I wasn't even inhaling it. Just puffing, you know, like you see people do. So, I'm sorry, Stuart. It might sound like I'm under some sort of hallucinatory drug or spell, but that is what I have to describe it as. I get it, not as I think I should describe it.
Well, this is the other thing. It's just basically people that comment on your videos. They'll say they'll taste something different to what you've actually said in the video.
Yeah.
I just think that's something up. The fact that there's 3 people tasting this beer and you're getting different palates, and that oh good. I mean, it's all subjective, isn't it?
They've had Tory.
I think it's good. I think it tastes. You know, I haven't tasted it yet. Now let's keep that in mind. I've only smelled it.
Ah, okay.
I've only smelt it. You ready? Let me taste this thing. And here we go. Oh, now my bottle size is 330 milliliters.
Yes, same.
Okay. Mine says Best Buy, and then there's no date. Unless you can translate this for me. Best before 17:19. Capital L 4116 GF007. That does not sound like a date.
I've used the scan code.
Best before this bizarre. Okay, now the flavor. Oh, that is very odd.
It should look like that.
I can't see it. It's too blurry. There's nothing in the spot. Yeah, you see, but they didn't stamp it. There's nothing there.
Okay.
Best before nothing. All right, the flavor.
Well, in that fairness, we have to assume yours is past its date because of the no dates. So how is it tasting past its date? I mean, this is almost a month past this, and it's still drinkable, still palatable. The alcohol's dropped out a bit, but you still get a little bit of the alcohol burn.
I'm getting very dark roasted barley malt, but not burnt. You see, this Founder's Black Rye, it tasted burnt.
Mm.
But it had no body. It was very light. This one has, and I brought that beer up because it's also 7.5% alcohol.
Yes.
And the price was similar, although that one is a little more expensive. Burnt barley, heavily roasted but not burnt barley malt, creaminess, like cream. The mouthfeel is smooth. There is some prickliness, so it's still pretty carbonated. Maybe some cocoa, powdered cocoa, coffee, a shade of dark roasted coffee, and possibly, yep, chicory. Mm-hmm.
Chicory, yes, I get that.
The finish tends to be towards the dry side, and it is pretty refreshing. I was a little thirsty. I was drinking water, but it's very easy drinking. I don't pick up any alcohol whatsoever. I did a video, which is still on the internet. I did a video about 4 years ago where I poured this beer over vanilla ice cream. It tasted good. It tasted good, but it was too much malt. It was too much ice cream malt and beer malt, so it made it a little gross. Okay.
Now, Jay, I don't know if you noticed, we've poured the Irish for an extra first, and the Nigerian for an extra last. And as you can see, the Irish one has kept its head retention, whereas the Nigerian has not.
So the Nigerian is the one with the splotchy lacing, and the Irish has the sheen of lacing?
That's the Irish.
Yeah, okay.
Still got its head. It's still got a single finger head. Nigerian has not.
Okay,
the Nigerian is a little bit more syrupy.
Here's mine.
The date on the Nigerian getting this almost like a toffee taste.
I get a little
A
syrup,
little bit apple.
little apple. Yeah, green apple.
Yeah, green apple. But that's the normal thing in some of these commercials. Imported stouts. You do get kind of like a green apple and.
Wow. Now, you know why it's called malt liquor over here, right?
Every dose of malt in it.
No. You see, we had a little problem in 1919 called Prohibition, where the United States government, in one of their worst cases of insanity, outlawed all alcoholic beverages in every state.
Yeah.
This went on for 14 years, okay? So then they was such an uproar about it and so much smuggling going on. Well, now the people in Canada enjoyed this law because they were able to make a fortune off of smuggling, and so were the Mexicans. Tourism in Mexico shot through the roof, the Bahamas, and Canadians got a lot of tourists. All right, well, anyway, they decided, they said, let's get rid of Prohibition, but with heavy restrictions. See, before Prohibition, the restrictions were very minimal. So after Prohibition, they said, okay, you can have alcohol again, but beer can only be this high in alcohol, etc., etc. So beer had to be very weak. Now, some companies wanted to make stronger beer, but the U.S. government said, no, no, you can't make strong beer. Everybody will become drunks. We must take care of you. We're the government. We're here to take care of you and rule your life. All right, so the beer companies realized that the law only said beer can't be strong. So they came up with a term from a long time ago that used to be used in England called malt liquor, which was an alternative word for beer. And so the company said, okay, well, we're going to sell this strong malt liquor. And the government said, oh, that's fine. Nowhere on this bottle does it say beer, because that's illegal. You see, you cannot sell a strong beer. That's illegal. Are you crazy? But you can sell malt liquor, and it can be 12% alcohol or even 14%. No problem. And many Americans, or I could say maybe even most Americans, think that malt liquor is different from beer, when in fact malt liquor is an alias for beer, used to skirt the law.
So just another experience, example of the government messing up on themselves.
Right. But it would be against the law for this to have the word beer on it.
Mm.
And in Texas, you see, when they ship these bottles to Texas, they have to change the labels on that beer. They have to call it ale.
Yeah.
They can't, or lager. Now they can say lager or they can say ale, but they cannot say beer. It's crazy. It's like insanity. You know, it's like they're making things that are perfectly fine against the law. I don't know. If you cross the border into Canada, they'll sell the same product, but it'll just say extra strong beer. I just brought that topic up because I thought people might find it interesting.
I mean, I think at one point there was for Guinness called the Special Extra, which I think was from Amsterdam, from Netherlands. And then when reclaimed the license, they took it back to Ireland and reclaimed it for an extra. I don't know if they still do the Special Extra.
Well, I know that they do an 8%.
Yeah, I think that's different.
But that's something else.
Never seen that.
And then I've seen over internet that box one.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the one that.
But I mean, we did examine the original Guinness, but there's also different variations. There's Guinness Original, Guinness Mid-Strength.
Yeah, we don't get that.
They've relaunched two other old recipes: the West Indies Porter and the Dublin Porter. The Dublin Porters around a session level whereas the West Indies is on the take of the foreign extra, but a lower ABV, 6% or about that.
Oh, let me say this. I was at a grocery store Saturday, and I was looking around, and I did buy some stuff, but I saw this big, it was, I guess, 22-ounce bottle in a paper carton, in a box, and it was Guinness, something special something, and it was $34.95 for one bottle. I said, oh no, and I don't think so. But it's here. It's in Louisiana, in my country of Louisiana.
Over there, but not here.
Not on that price. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Basically, how much do you stop before you stop buying or paying a certain amount of money for a single bottle of beer?
Well, I was not going to pay that. That was totally ridiculous. I mean, there are so many good beers that I do not buy because the price is outlandish. And then, of course, people will say, well, you are stupid because you don't appreciate good beer and you're letting money get in the way. You fool, etc. I say, well, look, I've just imagined how good it was.
I mean, me and Andrew, we used to, we didn't care about the price because we'd always split the difference. But it got to a point where we spent like a crazy amount on one bottle, the Epic Brewing.
Yeah.
And that was the sign to stop spending so much money on craft beer. I mean, we still buy a lot of craft beer and real ales, but we have a cut-off limit now. Unless it's a rare, authenticated quality beer like Firestone. I mean, I purchased a bottle of Firestone, £8 a bottle. But the fact that it's a rare beer over here, and also the fact it's a very well-known good beer, it was worth the £8 for that bottle. Mm. And we had it last week.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it was worth the £8 because, in fairness, the price hasn't changed that much from when it was in the US. I mean, Firestone, how much do you cost?
Well, let me say this. There's a whole lot. I go shopping once a month or twice a month, and there's a lot of beers I can buy. It seems like the supply never runs out. That I can get for $2.50, $3, $1.79, $2.25, and it's so for every one beer I can buy for $9 or $10.
Yes.
I can buy all these other ones for $1.75, $2, and those are good too. So it chases me away, and I'll admit it. I'll be the first to admit that I don't like paying those extraordinary prices.
Yeah, especially I mean that one beer could go, wow, this is awesome, but then you've drank it and you're thinking, what? That's one beer, and you spent the amount of a beer that could go, wow, 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 wow.
The only good one that came off was the Earl Grey IPA. We paid about £15 for that, didn't we?
Which one?
Earl Grey IPA.
Yeah, but I think we bought that from Outlet.
Saltaire Wines.
Yeah, so it'd been cheaper elsewhere.
Look, I'm not picking on people for paying a lot of money for beer, okay? I mean, look, if people want to buy beers and pay $20 a bottle, that's fine. I don't care. Some people pay a lot of money to go to sporting events, and other people would roll their eyes and say, you're stupid. I mean, let's look at it that way. I paid $15. No, I'm sorry. I paid $16 to buy a basketball ticket yesterday. Now, other people would say, you dummy, you could have bought a lot of beer for that. So, it's all relative, like, whatever you want to buy, like, it's your money.
You've got to balance out your hobbies, haven't you? I mean, you've got to balance out, I've got this much to spend on this hobby, this much to spend on this hobby. I mean, you love your sports. So you allocate a certain amount of money that week or that month to sporting events. Yeah. You allocate a certain amount of money to craft beer. And then you've got that certain amount left over that you buy your commercial beer and your comics and stuff like that.
Yeah. Look at this. I can't say too much about people paying money for beer. Look at this. I've paid... Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. because that is over 6,000 comic books. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've paid way more than $1 a piece. So, but, when I die and I'm dead in the graveyard, I can't spend any money then.
Well, you think about it, it's like a lot of dedication goes into each of those comic books. I mean, you can't buy commercial comic books because there isn't anything out there like that. It's basically craft. I think they call them graphic novels. Certain people call them that. And I think there's another term for it, but those the amount of work that goes into every comic is just the same as what goes into every beer. A lot of it goes from marketing, labour, brewing, distribution, and you've got to factor all that stuff in. And the fact that even though this has come from Ireland to the UK, Ireland to the US, this has come from Nigeria to the UK.
Yes,
all that
and like you mentioned before, without Diageo's ownership, we probably wouldn't be getting these beers.
No, I mean, we won't be able to get beers from Jamaica. We won't be able to get beers from Ireland. I mean, it's hard enough to get beers from Ireland as it is.
I mean, that sort of sums up with the Newcastle Brown situation with where you can get those other ones in America, but you can't get them here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing now, because you can't get a lot of select British brewers in the US. But if it wasn't for these big marketing groups and big breweries teaming up to distribute all these UK breweries, I think I saw something the other day that you get Upsons in the US, you get beers from Ilkley in the US now. And it's getting better and better because of these big breweries. Because they can afford to buy these big pallets from this brewery and distribute it to... Because that's how much you need to ship a full pallet of beer.
Well, we have places like Wetherspoons where they sell real ale pretty cheaper than your normal bars. But what they do is to buy all the brewery's beer and then sell it on to other parts of Wetherspoons.
We went to a local bar to us and Sparrow, and we called in, and I had half of this Imperial Stout. Now, this Imperial Stout was brewed in Leeds, and it was £3 for an half of beer. That's £3 sterling, which is probably about $5.
Yeah.
That's getting from Yorkshire to Yorkshire. But if you were to get an American beer and stuff like that, I'm surprised, but if you buy mass quantities, you can argue the different price that you want.
Right. Yeah, like, here's an example. Oh, let me say this before I go on. Talking about the bitterness in this beer, this is not a bitter beer. If people are afraid of bitterness, don't be afraid of this one because it is not bitter. But I do feel the alcohol now. I didn't taste the alcohol. I did not taste it, but I can feel it. You know what I mean? Because my body is warm.
The Nigerian one for us is a little more bitter. So if you're going to buy the foreign extra, be careful if you buy the Nigerian because it is slightly more bitter and drier.
I thought it had a bit more sweet taste as well.
Well, I would certainly buy it. I would buy it because I can't get it otherwise.
Mm.
Now, what were you saying?
I get a special store here in Yorkshire.
Just keep an eye out for a Nigerian store.
Chances are we won't. Let me bring up these 2 points, okay? First point. You're talking about the major companies. Last year, Guinness made a mistake, okay? They shipped an entire pallet of the 8-canned variety pack to the wrong distributor. It was 72 cases of beer, 8 cans in each case. The distributor called Guinness and said, "We didn't order this beer. What's going on?" Guinness said, "Look, we sorry, we sent it to the wrong place. Tell you what, just keep it and sell it at cost." So they sent it to my store. They called my store up and said, "Would you like to buy this Guinness 8-pack variety? It's got, you know, I talked to you about those beers last year."
Yeah.
And my store owner said, "Yeah, send it." So they sent these beers to our store one day last year, and it was 8 cans, and this is tall cans now, 14.9 ounces. And they sold them for $4.99 a pack. It was called the Discovery Pack. Normally, those would cost about $12 or $13 a pack, but they sold them for $4.99 a pack. You see, the point, yeah, and the point I'm making, and I bought about 8 or 9 packs. The point I'm making is, the point I make, and it was wonderful beer, by the way, the Smithwick's Pale Ale. But the point I'm making is that a small company could even go bankrupt over something like that. But a company like Guinness says, well, keep it. We don't want it. It's going to cost us more to ship it back. Just keep it. They just said, take it. And I got to experience all these wonderful beers for pocket change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
huh?
Exactly. It's just the same thing. It's basically because they distribute that much amount of beer, it's cheaper. They can counter in price.
They'll make it up somewhere else.
Yeah, they'll make it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Where, if a smaller brewery had done that, they can't make up that money because they've spent all that time and effort brewing that pallet. So they have to make it somewhere else. So they'll end up putting the price of their beer elsewhere.
Right. Second point. You're talking about these specialty beers that cost so much that you would be reluctant to try. There's a beer in China, and I can prove this because I've seen the photos. It's called Pabst. It's a Pabst beer. You know, you've heard of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, we did the review.
Oh, right. It's sold in China. It's sold in China in a big, tall bottle.
Yeah.
Maybe 700 milliliters. And it's called Pabst Pabst Special Reserve, and it's got like an actual cloth ribbon.
They posted it on the Facebook, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's got a ribbon on it, an actual cloth ribbon. You know, it's very expensive, but if you go to China and buy that beer, it's like $40 a bottle, $45 a bottle.
Ouch.
Yeah, and but those beers are very popular over there, you know, and so I guess some people buy it. I would like to try it and see what it tastes like, but I don't know about 40.
It'll probably taste exactly the same. It's just because they've had to take that extra effort. I mean, to bottle a beer is more expensive than to can a beer.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of money, but those people over in China, they jump on that. You know, when it comes out, they say, "Oh, look, the special Pabst." You know, we look down on Pabst in America as a cheap beer, and we laugh at it. But in China, they love it. Okay, now, last thoughts. I think this Guinness Extra Stout, Foreign Extra Stout, is made with a lot of care. I do not think it is thrown together. No. And I'm impressed with it, and I do not think that this is something that is done slipshod or without any thought.
I mean, it wouldn't be one of the most revered stout companies in the world, and it wouldn't be well known if it wasn't a well-made product, and they can't afford to ship ill-made product because they have to stick up with their reputation. I mean, even though the Guinness 4 Extra Nigerian is a little bit more drier, a little more sweeter on the back end, it's still a nice extra stout. I think Fuller's here in the UK, they make an extra stout, and that's what they used to name before they said Imperial. It used to be called extra stout because it'd be extra alcohol, extra hops, extra. And the reason it's called with foreign extra stout is because they had to put even more to make a long journey.
More hops, yeah. Well, you know, I've drank a lot of craft beers, as you know.
Yeah.
But I have to say this.
If you drink a lot, Andrew drinks even more.
Yeah, you and Andrew, I'm speaking for myself, but you and Andrew probably have drank more craft beers than me. But this can go toe-to-toe with 95% of them.
I'd say probably 85, but yeah, you're right. It's the fact that it's solid. I mean, Andrew was a big fan. Andrew tried to try every kind of the no, the foreign extra range. And every time we'd see a different variation of this Guinness, Andrew would always try and pick it up. I think the first time was a shop here in Yorkshire was Edinley, Biarritz. He saw the different variation, and then every so often he'd see a different variation, he'd pick it up and try it. He's tried a lot of the different variations before they reclaimed it back to Ireland.
Well, like I said, doing the 8% one, it's like the 8% one's like your normal standard Guinness, but more intense, more flavours, more heaviness. You know what I mean? It's like an imperial version almost.
You get a little bit more chocolatey down, but you still the alcohol's perking up a bit.
Yeah,
Do you get a creaminess though? Do you get some sort of creaminess?
Yeah, it's the best Guinness that you can buy. Now, let me say this. If you're going to drink 1 or 2 or 3 Guinness Foreign Extra Stouts, do not operate a motor vehicle. Do not get in your vehicle and drive, because you might run into some serious problems that will cost you a lot of money in your life. You'll probably lose your job, and you'll have something on your record. Do not do it. Drink this at home.
If you watched the review I did in the very early days of my beer reviewing days, I had the big version of the Foreign Extra Stout that I got from my work, and I decided to have a few, like a session of them, and I was out to the count after 2 bottles. So it's not sessionable, but it is kind of more-ish. The more you drink, the more you want to try more. And like I said, it is good with vanilla ice cream. Yeah, it's nice with red meats and a little bit of what else would you pair it with?
Well, Guinness, it's good in the pie. Pies.
Pie. How about what about mincemeat pie?
You know, I've actually seen in the supermarket a Guinness pie. You know, you can actually buy a Guinness pie.
Yeah, they've made a lot of brands. You can actually get it in. You can actually make your own sauce with Guinness for an extra.
Look what came out last week: Guinness potato chips.
Yes, we've been selling those for about 3 years now.
They just arrived in America less than a week ago.
Yeah.
Before we get off the air, I'm going to show you 2 more things. 2 more things.
You made a Guinness cake, didn't you?
Yeah, you can make Guinness brownies. You can make Guinness chocolate cake.
Don't we have some Guinness sweets or something?
I think you can make Guinness fudge and Guinness cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. I want to take that back. I'm going to show you 3 more things. First, Heineken Light. This is bought this Saturday. $5.75 for 4 cans. The can is 500 milliliter, I think.
Again, that's down to distribution. You're having a beer all the way from Holland, right? A beer from Holland, closer to the UK than us. And you're having it in America. You wouldn't be able to have that kind of beer without distribution.
No, and look at the price. $5.75 divided by 4, $1.43 a can. It was made with. They reformulated this beer 2 years ago with Cascade hops to give it a more spicier flavor. Very interesting beer. Secondly,
I wouldn't be surprised if they actually brought that in like a full plane full of Heineken Light.
I don't know if you get Heineken Light in England, in Yorkshire.
No.
We haven't seen that in here.
Secondly, I bought this at the same grocery store for $7.75 a 6-pack.
Oh, the kitchen. Excellent. Yeah.
Kirin we get that. I've seen it mostly on tap recently.
That's nice on bottle as well.
Kirin Ichiban Shibori, 5% alcohol, made with 100% barley malt, hops.
It gives you a proper headache, that though.
It's got rice in it, hasn't it, as well?
No.
Again,
This is
distribution.
I thought it was a rice beer.
That's all the way from, what is it, Korea or Japan?
Japan.
Yeah. And without distribution, you wouldn't be able to get that beer in the US of A or the UK. Like Andrew's had it on bottle. I've had it on tap.
Yeah, this beer is actually produced in America under license by Anheuser-Busch, so it's even cheaper. They use the recipe, and this is an interesting beer because it's the first press of the wort, so there's a lot of information about that. Thirdly, when you come to Louisiana, here's a beer called Steel Reserve 211.
That's on my hit list.
This is a real malt. Yeah, this is a real malt liquor.
Yes.
This is the one that gets you an arrest record. Now, it's made by Miller. It's 6%. Yeah, you heard me right. 6% alcohol. Now, I bought this at a local store for $3.99, a six-pack of 500 milliliter. Well, I don't know what 16 ounces is. What is that? 400 something milliliters.
I mean, this is another thing about the distribution part. That a lot of the big companies, they actually buy the recipes so they can brew that beer to cut down the cost of distribution, to make sure that the consumer gets a lower-ended price rather than a high-end price.
Yes, and that's what happened with this beer. This beer was produced in 1998 by an independent company in San Francisco, and what happened was Miller came along and wrote them a check for a bunch of money and bought the company, bought the beer, not the company, they bought the beer, and now they produce it, and they have 3 different varieties. And let me tell you this, if you drink a six-pack of this, you will not recall your trip. But on the other hand, it is a very smooth and enjoyable beer. Now, that will cause me to have a lot of enemies in the world, but it is a fact. And my daughter, you've probably seen me do beer reviews with my daughter.
Oh, yeah, I love the beer reviews that you do with your daughter.
She drank the extra strong version of this, which comes in the black can. It's called the Triple Export. 8.1% alcohol, and she thought it was one of the best beers she'd ever had, which I thought was so comical, you know.
Well, a while back, me and Andrew got a guilty pleasure for Mockney beers, and we decided to examine a wide range of them. We thought, oh, these are nice, these. Kept knocking them back. Boom. We were like, licking floor, we were falling over, we couldn't stand. We had about 4 cans. And it's the same thing. It's like hidden strength. Some of these.
Well, a lot of them was. Mockney is strong beer, and they're all about 7 or 8%.
And some of these beers, they do mask it really well.
It tastes so good as well. Like one called the Bowie.
Yeah, the Mockney. I think you get the Bowie.
I've done Lamza Mockney.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful beer. Now, this beer here is like a Mockney. If it was in Poland, it would be Mockney. This will sneak up on you like, when you drink it, you think you're drinking baby candy, baby formula. And you say, oh, it's so smooth. I don't pick up the least bit of alcohol. But on the 3rd can, you start to wonder where you are, what's going on, what's happening. All right. Anyway.
Beers like this, they hide a lot of the alcohol with the chocolate malts and stuff like that. So you're thinking, oh, this is chocolate, this is creamy, this is tasty. And you slip drinking it, oh, I'll have another one. Oh, this is lovely, this.
That's the wobbly bob.
Yeah, it's just like, you basically, you think about all this chocolate stuff, you don't realise that you're drinking a 11% beer, a 12% beer, 8% beer.
Yes. And before we close this out, because we've gone on a long time and it's very rollicking, which is fine. If you take a trip to Nigeria, you'll notice that they sell the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, which in Nigeria is just called Guinness.
Yes.
And they sell those beers in the big Coca-Cola bottles.
Yes, I did see them. They had them at the Jamaican store.
Coca-Cola bottles. They drink them like water.
Yes.
As though it were water. Imagine that. Well, maybe that's why Nigeria has one of the highest murder rates in the world. I don't know. Anyway.
And on that note.
Thank you for watching this video production, and y'all come on down to New Orleans.
Controversial.
You take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.